Hello, aspirants. Welcome to PW OnlyIAS. I'm here, Harpreet Singh, with the daily analysis of The Hindu from 21st of November 2024. Let's begin with today's analysis. So this is a QR code of the Telegram account where you can basically find this PDF along with the other material that is required for your preparation. The topics that we have taken for today's analysis are accessibility and dignity issues in Indian prisons. So this is again a very holistic perspective, not only from the disabled people or the specially able people in the prisons, along with it, the treatment or the ill treatment, to be more precise, being met to the prisoners in the Indian prisons. Then you have CARICOM, PM, Vidyalakshmi, Coffee Board, 55th IFFI. So these are certain things from the today's newspaper. Let's analyze them. Okay, now this topic is very important because it deals with a very important perspective of the Indian society and social justice. How? The topic, again from GS1 and GS2, the long fight for accessibility and dignity in the Indian prisons. If you have a look at, if you were listening to the previous analysis of the Hindu, you would have seen that the Supreme Court had given a judgment with respect to the prison manual issues that have been prevalent in India, where the discrimination is widely practiced in the Indian prisons according to the prison manual. That is one of the dimensions, but was it the only dimension? No. The overcrowding in the prisons, the unhygienic conditions in the prison, the inhuman treatment or sometimes torture also met to the prisoners, again the various forms of discriminations being there, and no special provision as such being there for the people who are basically specially abled. Because these jails predominantly are the ones which are during the British time they were built and they're still continuing. Some new prisons have come up, obviously, but those also lack the facilities for the special abled people. So when we are dealing about this topic, please understand it is not concerned simply by the people who are disabled or specially able. It is overall issue with respect to the prison issues that are there. So I have taken up certain reports, the standing committee report summary also, which basically shows what the issues are and what are the recommendations that are there. So this is again important from the perspective of the prison issues that are prevalent in India. Now see, when we see over here, almost all the things that are present over here, I have basically explained in various forms. Before we begin actually, now this is an interesting thing, please see. Standing committee report. This is a summary where the Standing Committee on Home Affairs, chaired by Brijlal, submitted a report on prison conditions, infrastructure and reforms on September 21, 2023. Key observations. We will be seeing these observations again, but why I mentioned is because when we are dealing with these issues, there are various issues that are prevalent in the prisons. One, or the most important one, being the overcrowding. Overcrowding. The committee observed that overcrowded prisons have a serious consequences for both the prisoners and the criminal justice system. The national average occupancy is now at least more than 130%. That means if there is a capacity of, let us say, 100 prisoners, in that prison, you have 130 people. So by default, there's a room, supposedly, you can keep 100 people there and 130 people are there. That means it is much more overcrowded. Space for individual prisoners is going to be less. There are greater chances of conflicts there. Very often, fights between these prisoners take place. Along with it, proper infrastructure is not there. The toilets, the unhygienic conditions there for the prisoners. Many would be presuming that, okay, there are prisoners. What is the need for having special treatment? It is not about special treatment. It is about basic humanitarian ground where basic amenities are available for them because there are also human beings. Please understand when we talk about the concept of prison. Prison as a concept has basically come up from the Western philosophy where our observation where these are considered as reform centers. In the extreme case when the death penalty is also given, those are the extreme cases. But if you see overall, prison cells or the jails are basically reform centers where people are kept there for, let us say, some duration, let us say, few months, weeks, or for that matter, years also. If someone is getting a prison for 10 years, it means that after 10 years, he'll be free. So that means for those 10 years, you have to repent for what bad deed you have done. So those are reform centers. And those reform centers, if supposingly the worst of the conditions are there, what will happen? The person's mental health, his way of thinking, all are going to deteriorate and come to a condition where instead of reforming, the conditions will further deteriorate. That is why, please remember, having at least basic amenities in a congenial and a hygienic manner is very important. That is even recommended by the Home Ministry in the report, by the Standing Committee of the Home Ministry. Now, 130%. Now, see over here. Let us see the example over here. Dadar and Nagar Haveli. Now, just imagine this is percentage 276%. Now, supposingly there are 100 capacity for 100 people, they have 276 people over there. That means 176 people extra. Chhattisgarh 233%. Then 100% is a full capacity. It is 233%. That means 134 people extra within the capacity that the prison can handle. So just can you imagine? Dadar, Nagar, Chhattisgarh, Delhi 226, Meghalaya 177, Uttar Pradesh 168, Madhya Pradesh 139, Uttarakhand 136, such a small state, Kerala 118, Punjab 117. So these represent the level of overcrowding in the prisons that are there. So automatically there are going to be constraints with respect to food also, conditions also, toilets also, fights between the people, various murders take place in the prison, who are there, because so much crowding and overcrowding is there. Under trial prisoners constitute 75.7% of the total inmate population. So do you realize that under trials, because in most of the cases, you are in the jail, let us say for some time, and because a trial is going on, and supposingly the maximum punishment of that crime that you have committed is, let us say, 3 years, 4 years. People are lodged in the jail for 5 years, and their case has not come in front of the courts also. 75.57%. And that aggravates the issue, because when you have the court system being weak and not functioning at its full capacity, this problem will aggravate. This problem, because we know that, let us say out of 100 people in the prison, 75.7, let us take it 76, are what? The ones who are under trial. Now, if a rapid manner, I won't say hurry, but in a proper manner, if the issue was resolved, if those trials are finished, many could be set free. But again, we know that even the high courts are working at 60 to 70% of their strength. There are crores of cases pending, especially at the lower judiciary. So do we realize this, that this is again related with the reforms at the level of judiciary, also again linked with the concept of overcrowding of the prison. So this is one. First is overcrowding. If we move ahead, please understand, second is the lack of basic amenities. Many prisoners, especially those of the weakest socioeconomic backgrounds, could not access basic amenities such as medication, illness, medicines, pens, paper, book, and television. Let us leave television. You need something to read. Whole day you cannot be in a one prison cell. Your mental health will deteriorate. That is what happens after some time for those, especially those who are under trial. They do not know what the judgment is going to be. They are in the prison without any judgment coming from the side of the court, and they are, because they do not, let us say, have this power or the influence which could basically help them to get their case in front of the judiciary. So what happens during that time? Lack of medications, non-accessibility to these paper, books, or something that they want to read also. Unhygienic conditions, overcrowding exasperates the issue of hygiene. With prisoners living in unclean environment leads to health problems. Various diseases do come up. Especially, one of the reports says the urinary tract infections, because you know that the place where the toilets are, such a large number of people are there to keep them clean condition also. People are lacking there. Automatically, these issues do rise. Fourth, custodial torture, one another problem faced by the prisoners. This is even leads to the death of many prisoners. Very common. Torture from the side of the police forces also, when excess force is applied, and also there are various cases where people within, all the prisoners are fighting with each other, because you realize that in the prison also there are gangs. They have their own gangs who have their own groups. They keep on fighting with one another. That is also an outcome of this. Fifth, unequal access to the legal rights. Many prisoners, particularly those who cannot afford good legal representation, struggle to secure permission for the basic amenities. This results in disparity. Certain people, let us say, belong to very good socio-economic background, who are in the prison for some time. On the other hand, there are others who are from the weaker sections. They will not have the ability to go to the court and appeal to the court that I want these facilities, and court will say yes, you can be granted. Does everybody have the power to pay or the money to pay to the lawyers to go to the court and just get that judgment from the court? No. The weaker section will be saying at least they somehow get out of the jail. In that process, we realize that there is differences with respect to the people who are getting certain facilities in the jail with respect to the others. Lack of rehabilitation services. This is something very important. Please see. When someone is going, not, I won't say you, I would say people who are going to the jail. Over there, when you're getting let us say, imprisonment of, let us say, 10 years, let us assume, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. Those are the times where you, as a person being in jail, is made to basically understand or repent for the crime that he or she has done. And during that process, change oneself so that when again that person enters the community or the mainstream population, he is a reformed person, a changed person. But what generally happens is, because of these overcrowding, unhygienic conditions and all, what it basically results is the mental health condition and the problems that were present with the person further aggravates. Rather than rehabilitating that person, we realize that the condition worsens. So these jails act as torture centers mentally, if not physically. Rather than rehabilitating, the conditions basically deteriorate. Normalizing inhuman treatment, societal tendency to normalize inhuman and degrading the treatment of prisoners. For example, if somebody, let us say a prison, who let us say has committed a crime, right? He's in the prison. Even if he's beaten by other people or the policemen, it is considered, yes, it is fine. People would be populist opinion that it is fine because he has committed a crime. That is what separates, please understand, there's a rule of law. We have to abide by the law. Even the police people have to abide by the law. You cannot simply do all what you want or anything that you want. That is where the judiciary comes into place. If you move ahead, very important thing over here is normalizing human treatment. Recently also, the Supreme Court gave a judgment with respect to treatment in the prison, where they said the prison manuals or the jail manuals that they have basically have the aspect of caste-based discrimination and tribal identity-based discrimination. How? For example, in the Madhya Pradesh jail manual, which was implemented in the 1980s, it was being continued in a way that the people who have to discharge the duty of cleaning toilets are going to be from the scheduled caste community, not the other caste. Now, this was a caste-based discrimination that even the Constitution under Article 17 prohibits was being practiced in the jails. Right? First. Second, you know that during British time, they had declared various tribes as criminal tribes. And that criminal tribe was used to be a tag on the tribes, and they could be arrested by the police forces and met with a discriminatory treatment that was meted to them because they were considered as criminals. Now, this identity was basically continued with respect to various tribes. Though post-independence, we realized that the government of India removed that derogatory term of criminal tribes, and those who were denotified from their tribes, that tag of criminal tribes, are known as denotified tribes. But even they were denotified, you are another tag that is denotified tribe. So when those people from those tribes are arrested in the prison also, you'll be realizing that the jail manual also treats them separately because various jail manuals are inspired from what the Britishers had created. And over there also, they are seen from the perspective that they are criminal by instinct only. And that is why they are discriminated. So that is why the recent judgment by the Supreme Court also said that all the states have to reform or change their prison manuals within 3 months. That means by, I think, this January, the case will again go to the Supreme Court, where the district legislative authorities, legal legislative authorities are going to inspect the prisons across the districts and see whether the new manuals that have come up are working place or not, and there is no discrimination on the basis of the caste or the tribe identity. So this is again one of the discrimination that is still being faced, though the Supreme Court has given a judgment. Now, please understand, there is a Model Prison Act 2023. Now, it basically, you should know that though the central government has created this act, it is for the state governments to adopt the provisions out of this act. Now, whether they want to adopt these provisions, or not, it will basically depend upon their whims and fancies. Again, it is the jurisdiction of what the state government. So that is why please understand the central government can give the directions, but it is the state government who have to adopt it. Now they have said like provisions for security assessment and segregation of prisoners, sentence planning, grievance redressal should be there, prison development board should be there, provision for separate accommodation for women prisoners and transgenders again. Provision for the use of technology, provision for video conferencing of court, scientific and technological interventions, provision of punishment for the prisoners, uh, punishment of prisoners and jail staff for the use of prohibited items like mobile phones, which we realize that very often are being used by the gangs also. Provision regarding establishment and management of high security jails, provision for protecting the society from criminal activities, provision for legal aid to the prisoners on payroll, focus on vocational training, skill development, and a congenial environment for the prisoners to not believe that these are simply torture centers but reform centers. So these are provisions that are given. Now, it is up to the state government to adopt these things. The state government doesn't adopt because the large number of prisons are again, they are under jurisdiction of the state governments. So that is why it is important that the state governments basically adopt these things. Only then it will be useful. So legal aid for the under trials, the state legal legislative authorities have established legal service clinics in the jails to provide free legal assistance. Now, these are not present in every state. And most of them, if present, are not functioning properly. These clinics have established to ensure no prisoner remains unrepresented and legal aid and advice is provided to them. National Legal Service Authority prepared a standard operating procedure for the under trial review committee. Now, problem, please understand what is going on. This National Legal Service Authority or all these things are already present. From now, it has been long time. They're also preparing committees to resolve the issue of the under trials. But again, do you realize that 76% of the prisoners are under trials? These committees do remain committees, recommendation remains recommendation, but problem lies with the implementation. So when we move ahead, we see another act that is placed over here. In the editorial that we saw, over there they mentioned that the problem that is faced by another section of the society is the specially abled people. The specially abled people face other issues because they are also a form of discrimination because no special provisions are provided to them. The jails or the cells that are there are created for the prisoners as usual, the normal prisoners. And when you have the overburdening of the prison cells, you will be seeing that there are 100 prisoners of occupancy should be there. You have 200, 300 prisoners being there. So automatically no special provision can be there for the disabled people or the specially able people. Now we see that there is an act also, Persons of the Rights of the Person with Disabilities Act 2016. We realize that now this again gives the rights to who? The prisoner, the persons with special, who are specially able or disabled, holistically. Now see, it replaces the previous act of 1995. It has basically recognized 21 types of disabilities encompassing 7 major various laws like blindness, low vision, leprosy, cured people. So many of them are there. Intellectual disability, mental illness, autism, hearing disability, thalassemia, hemophilia, sickle cell anemia. So all these things are there. What the dimension over here is, when we talk about these, what about this act's implementation inside the jail? There are some prisoners who are blind. There are some prisoners who cannot walk. There are some prisoners who have mental health issues. Do you see intellectual disability is also there? So over there, we realize that some are not able to walk. We don't have special provisions there. There are lack of wheelchairs also there. So over there, this is even against the principle of humanity. And that is what is being observed. That is what is being observed in the prisoners as such. So that is one thing that holistically the prison reforms need to take place. And other community also, which we see transgenders, they also face an issue because they are the ones who have experienced sexual molestation, discrimination because of their identity, and all these things are there. So one of the major problems that they face is with respect to identity. So these things holistically have created a problematic situation. Clear? Now let us see. Again, see, it empowers this act empowers the central government and other to Other category of specified disability defines a person with disability as a person who has long-term physical, mental, intellectual problems. Defines benchmark disability person with not less than 40% of the disability. Now, please see these things, that these things are basically representation of the aspect that the provision is there, but this is not being implemented with respect to the jails. Now comes the aspect of standing committee report summary. Now, this is the aspect of the recommendations that are made by the standing committee. Now, let's see them. Young offenders, the committee has noted that lack of clarity who is a young offender, and what they are basically trying to tell is that important is that we need to treat them from a very separate manner, because these are young. Proper facilities with respect to, let us say, basic schooling or education facilities should be there for them. Next, we move ahead is women prisoners. When we talk about women prisoners, special cells should be there, special care should be taken care of them, not mixing it with the men prisons. Special amenities and facilities should be provided to them. Along with them, those who have the young children with them, for them also we realize that special cells or crèches should be created which are not present there. Prison staff shortage, we realize that a lot of shortage is there. Filling of the vacancies, not only at the level of the judges, but also at this level should be important. Bail money for the under trials. The committee observed that over 70% of the prisoners are under trial, which is now, we very well know that it's close to 76%. So if they can be granted bail, let us say money is arranged, and what, which, because there are cases where they can be granted bail, but they do not have the money. So creating a fund where possibly, let us say, pooling of money, where if the crime can be granted a bail, should be granted a bail in that case. That is why is again an important dimension. Now, next is prison budget. We realize that in 2021, the total budget of the prison, of all the prisons, was 7,619 crores. Now, the problem over here is, with respect to the large scale prisoners we have and the jails we have, this is very less. Okay? So the problem that arises is, increasing the budget becomes a very, very important dimension over here. Because we need to see that the budget is, see, the problem here is, we create the budget on the basis of the assumption that the number of prisoners are going to be this. Let us say we see this is the capacity of a prison is 100 people. So we create the budget accordingly. But we have prisoners who are, let us say, 300 in number. So that means 3 times. That is why what happens is that we are not able to estimate the extra amount of money that is going to be spent. Transgender prisons, committee recommends separate infrastructure for them, special wards for them, special toilets different for them, and prevent their discrimination. Food quality again is an issue where a lot of problems have been there with respect to health and congenial environment. So proper food inspection and quality should be maintained. So now this was the analysis from the mains topic. Let us see the prison prelims topic. Topic 1, GS2. Over here, CARICOM over here is mentioned over here. Please see. What is CARICOM? It stands for Caribbean Community. It is an organization of the Caribbean countries, originally established as Caribbean Community and the Commons. This was established, market was established in 1973 by the Treaty of Chaguaramas. Now, basically, this is a various Caribbean countries are basically members of this. Now, CARICOM is also an official United Nations observer beneficiary. Objectives: it promotes economic integration and cooperation among the members. That ensures the benefits of integration and equitability is shared between the members of the region. Members, there are 15 members here. Antigua and Barbados, Bahamas, Antigua and Barbuda, Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Dominica, Grenada, Guyana, Haiti, Jamaica, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, the Grenadines, the Suriname, and the Trinidad and Tobago. So these are the 15 members. Chairmanship of the community is rotated every 6 months among the members. So among them, only one or the other person will become the chairman. The current chairman, again, Antigua and Barbuda, this keeps on changing. Observer states, now we have Anguilla, Bermuda, British Virgin Islands, and some of them are, again, the observers. Secretariat is in Georgetown in Guyana. So this is, again, an economic cooperation between the members of the Caribbean. Why CARICOM matters for India? Strategic location. Caribbean region holds strategic importance for India. Again, relationships with the United States also and along with the region. Shared values. Both India and CARICOM share common values of democracy and development. Economic opportunities. India can invest over there. We have common interest with respect to, again, there are least developed regions also. Again, India can collaborate with them with respect to economic aspect, tourism, energy, let us say, collaboration and long term in the field. Let us say they are regions where possibility of wind energy generation is very feasible. Region offers opportunities for investment and technology collaboration, mutual interest, strengthening the ties with CARICOM. India aims to foster mutually benefit the partnership with each other and mutually develop, because we realize that these are opportunities where when you have these groups along with you, these help in your diplomatic uh, aspects, especially at the United Nations, when you have the support of these countries. Next, PM Vidya Lakshmi differs from the other scheme. Topic 2, GS3. We have already done PM Vidya Lakshmi. Let us have a look at it. PM Vidya Lakshmi scheme is a central sector scheme. Central sector, please remember that there are two types of schemes generally with centrally sector, centrally sponsored. Central sector scheme is dot, which is sponsored completely by the central government funding. Centrally sponsored are those schemes where the central government as well as the state government pool in certain amount depending upon the ratio or the percentage they have decided, and contribution of both the governments are there. Over here, central sector is completely by the central government. Specially designed to support the deserving and economically weaker section students to a collateral-free, guarantor-free education loan to students who secure admissions in top-quality higher educational institution across India. Now, this is in order to promote higher education among the Indian students who lack money, or let us say are not so, not so economically in a condition which can basically allow them to study in the higher education. So this provides them with a loan so that they can pursue the higher education. Now, it is a student-friendly and fully digitalized application process that ensures transparency and simplicity in availing loans. The scheme covers full tuition fee and associated course expenses. With a mission mode mechanism, which basically aims to simplify and extend educational financing, especially for the students belonging to the weaker section. So what we are seeing, we are basically seeing a scheme is there, which is providing you collateral free, without guarantee free loan to the people who want to pursue the higher education. Clear? Now, let us see features. Collateral free and guarantee free. That means you don't have to give a collateral or a guarantee against this you're taking a loan. No, it is not required. Again, the government is again a guarantor over here. Digital application process. So in order to apply for the loan, you don't have to go to some bank as such. You have to apply it through the digital platform, and you can get the loan based depending upon whether you meet the criteria or not. Next is loan guarantee and interest subvention. For a loan amount up to 7.5 lakhs, the Government of India provides 75% credit guarantee, which reduces the risk for the banks and encourages them to extend the loans to the people, because otherwise the bank would not extend, because being guarantee free or collateral free, it is a problematic situation. So the Government of India itself acts as a guarantor. The scheme offers a 3% interest subvention for the students with an annual family income of up to 8 lakhs on the loan of up to 10 lakhs. That means an interest rate, a reduction in the interest rate by 3% can be seen over here. Such interest subsidy support will be given to 1 lakh students every year, and preference will be given to the students from the government colleges or those colleges who have opted for technical professional degrees. Now again, please understand, certain preferences are basically given over here with respect to those who opt for the government colleges and the professional colleges, right? Now, full interest subvention for the lower income groups. For students whose family income is less than 4.5 lakhs, this scheme will provide full interest subvention up to 10 lakhs. So there is no problem of the issue of the interest rate. Integration with PMUSP. The PM Vidya Lakshmi scheme works along with PMUSP, Prime Minister's Unique Scholarship Program, and supplements two of its components. One is the central sector interest subsidy and the credit guarantee fund scheme. So these are the other schemes which are basically linked over here in order to have a holistic mechanism for the implementation of the Vidya Lakshmi scheme. When we move, it is a mission mode mechanism. What does it mean? Now, please understand, this mechanism ensures that the quick risk processing and allocation of loans is done basically to the people or the students who are aspiring to study, and effective features benefiting who get the admission in the top 860 top ranking institutions in India. So please, this is also criteria that this is applicable only for those top 860 ranked institutes. If you go for some institute that is ranked 1000 or 1200, you will not get this loan. So you have to be yourself, prove your eligibility also that you're capable enough of getting the loan. So this is another feature. Then again, what we have basically seen over here is basically represented in a form of a chart with respect to income and the loan. What we studied right now is summarized over here, right? Let's move ahead. Coffee board, topic 3, GS3. Coffee board, this can be asked in the prelims, that is why it is important. Statutory organization, that means it is a statutory body, neither a constitutional body nor simply an executive body. Established under Section 4 of the Coffee Act of 1942. It functions under the administrative control of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. The board comprises 33 members, including chairperson, who is the chief executive, and it functions from Bangalore. The Bangalore has the headquarters of the coffee board. The board mainly focuses on the activities through which you can basically research, extend, develop, or how you can increase the production of the coffee also along with it. What type of market researches can be done, how we can basically increase export also. So those things are basically focused over here. Next is topic for GS3, page 1. We know that IFFI. Now, we have the International Film Festival. So this is again the 55th being celebrated in India. So we have to have brief idea about this. About International Film Festival of India, it was basically founded in 1952 by the first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, and from then it has been continuing. Please understand, the first edition was not celebrated in Goa, which is now being, it was first celebrated in Mumbai. After that, it moved to, let us say, Calcutta, then Delhi, Madras, Trivandrum, and later on we realized that it is permanently shifted to Goa now. Now it is every year celebrated in Goa. Now, IFFI was moved to Goa permanently in 2004. Earlier on, what happened? Various places it was being celebrated on rotation. Now, Goa is a center where the International Film Festival is basically celebrated. Now, it is a means through which basically India's diversity with respect to various films are portrayed over here. It is a means of celebrating that art and creativity, because these films also display a very important perspective from the dimension of the art culture of India. And that is why we see large number of celebrities, directors, and all coming and being awarded for the work that they have done. Over here, International Federation of Film Producers and Association was mentioned in the article, so that is why we should know that also. It is an international organization representing the film producers that are present across the world, irrespective of the language, irrespective of the country. This is an organization representing them. With 37 producers organizations and 30 countries of the 5 continents, it is dedicated to defense and promotion of legal, economic, and creative interest to the film producers. So this is again a major dimension. So let's move ahead with the MCQs. Question 1, options, answer. Question 2, answer. Question 3, options, answer. Question 4, answer. Question 5, answer. So this was the analysis of the Hindu from my side. Hope you enjoyed it, liked it. We'll continue with this in the future also. Please keep on understanding what is the importance of UPSC preparation along with what the articles are required. You don't have to read every article. What is required is being covered over here. Take care and Jai Hind.